What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris Rush, coming to you with a video that I felt like I needed to make. This video, I am responding to Pastor Efrem Smith's response to his Facebook critics who have been, he say that we're taking him to task for the issue of abortion. And I gotta admit, you probably know who that is. And me and the other guy I know, we were challenging him regarding his stance on abortion, and not just even his stance, because of course Pastor Efrem Smith is pro-life, but actually, like, what does that actually mean? And it came out of a heartfelt of, like, you know, we talk about injustice regarding this injustice with this black kid or this little injustice in the city, but what about the injustice of, like, the baby in the womb that's murdered every day? And so he made a response to the video, and this is my response to his video. So I hope there's room where I can respond to this, and I'm coming in a heart of trying to come in a heart of humility. I'm not coming to be mean at you, Efrem, or and for everyone out there that loves Efrem Smith. I hope that there's room for growth and sharpening and reproof and kind of back and forth of what we're dealing with, because we're not dealing with a small little thing. We're dealing with the mass murdering of 1.2 million human beings a year. And so this isn't a small, you know, conversation of like, oh yeah, what are we doing with abortion? Like, it's just a cup over, you know, let's drink some tea and just talk. This is a, you know, military strategy that we need to really wrap our minds around. So I'm really hoping that we can have a dialogue and discussion without calling people names, without trying to come at me, because I'm sure by the end of this, I'm going to be portrayed as radical. And, you know, so be it if, you know, if what I'm standing on is radical. So let's just get this thing started. It's a nice video. It's a video saying, hey, you know, my response is, you know, we should raise up leaders, and I should care about, we should also care about the other injustices of the city and nation. First, I would want to start off by telling everybody that I've been a youth pastor for like 6-7 years. I've been working in inner city with kids from all walks of life, with the poor and all that. And in my walk in evangelism and working in North Minneapolis, feeling called to this community, God began to even put his hand deeper and say, listen, son, you can't just worry about, you know, cry and pray over the kids in the streets. There are actually kids, your youth, future youth, are being murdered down the street. Your neighbor is being murdered down the street. You know, contrary to you know, popular belief, I didn't just decide to pick up abortion. It came from a heart of God, of praying about it for like a year, and God really began to speak on, I'm calling the whole church to this thing. I'm calling the church to engage, that this is such a problem, that this is not a small problem that's just going to be handled with a small group of people on the side. And so what I want to, I just want to tell you, that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from somebody who does care about sex trafficking, who does care about the fatherless kid, that does care about poverty and all that. But the problem is, none of those things are either illegal or tangible enough to really abolish, such as poverty. You know, we should, you know, do what we can with poverty, but to abolish poverty is not realistic, because there's no way tangibly you can abolish, you know, people not having money, or what standard is that? That's a good fight to have for people who have poverty, to help people in those situations, but it's not a tangible thing. And, you know, I want to say this about the sex trafficking thing. You know, everybody likes to bring up that, and to be honest, I'm gonna just keep it real. It sounds real trendy, and I know that it's not trendy. I understand that girls are actually being raped every day, but I want to tell you, I've never met one person who's ever agreed with that. I've never met any politician who legislates that and protects that. I've never seen anything in our U.S. Taxes that go towards the sex trafficking industry on record, up front. My point is saying that we cannot level abortion with the rest of these social ills. We just can't. Not because it's my opinion, because we can't. We have 3,000 babies dying a day. I want you to put in your mind's eye a hill of dead babies every day, 3,000 every day, or lying up in the street. I want you to picture in your mind's eye of 1.2 million children dead a year. This is, and not only that, not just like an injustice, like we're killing kids, but like we're legally killing kids. There are actually there's actually buildings that say clinic on it, that you can drive in and pay an assassin to kill your child. Now I want to ask you guys, picture in your mind's eye that there's a building that says sex trafficking, place where you could come have sex with children or teenagers and whatever. And if there was a building and our government promoted that, and it was legal, and you could come in and do it, it was no problem, and people were zealous for that cause, I mean, that'd be something that we could really put our hands. But since sex trafficking is already illegal, not saying that we can't do anything against it, we need to abolish murder, legal murder in the womb. People say, Chris, you guys are radicals. It's just one issue. Well, please tell me about another issue that deserves this focus. Now, if we were to take a step back and go back in slavery days, and if you were an abolitionist at that time, and you were talking to the people about the injustice of the African slaves, somebody could have easily be like, man, we got a lot of injustices in our city, man. We got a lot of things, man. We got poor people. We got brothels, man. We got all this stuff going on, man. Why are you so focused on the African slaves? He could have had a point, but the issue is that, 3 to 4 million, if that number is right, Africans being raped and beat, that was a greater sin than, any other at that nation at this time. I tell you, abortion is the greatest sin of our land, because we're shedding innocent blood every day. We promote it. It's not shedding innocent blood and like that person gets justice. No. It's like we allow that to go on. This is far above any other issue, not because I wanted to, because it is. Now I get, we need to raise up leaders. And his response to us is, our calling is to raise up leaders, and that's what we're going to do. But my response to that is, well, of course we're supposed to raise up leaders, but that's not how we're going to end abortion. How we're going to end abortion is directly engaging abortion. I could have took that same posture and said, you know what, I'm a youth pastor, I'm training up 20 kids in this youth ministry. This is my cause to end abortion. And be honest, I couldn't say that because that wasn't really ending abortion. That was me discipling kids and training them up to be leaders. But I wasn't training them up to really engage this dragon, to teach them how to reach out to girls at the clinics, to teach them how to talk to people about abortion, to teach them to go promote pro-life material and abolition material and get that stuff out in the streets. I wasn't training them on that. I was training them on how to be leaders, and that's good, but that's not directly fighting abortion. Fighting abortion is a love your neighbor issue. You have a neighbor this week, tomorrow, who is going to be murdered in your city, and so my question is, what are we going to do for that child this week? What are we going to do? And a lot of us, we love to say we're fighting abortion, but we've actually never been to an abortion clinic. We actually never stood in front of one and prayed in front of one. I'm guilty. I mean, I prayed for abortion for a long time, but it wasn't until last year, this time, that I went to first time to Planned Parenthood, and I just prayed outside, and my heart got broken. And so it's like saying, hey man, we care about the poor, we care about we care about the hungry, but you never go to the hungry. We care about the inner city, I care about, but you never actually go into the inner city. So my question is, if we care so much about abortion, then our actions should reflect that. If I said, man, I care about youth, but I never go to youth and be with youth or reach out to youth, and I don't care about youth. I can't say I care for the lost, and I never actually go to the lost. And so there's a level of actually going to the clinic and being there. Not that I think that's going to directly end abortion by us going, but that's actually showing that we actually care about those children going into the clinic. I love Efrem Smith, man. I love you, Efrem. I love who you are. I love your zeal, your passion, man. When I came to Sanctuary, man, I learned so much from you, from that. I appreciate what you do and how you, who you are in God, and I love that. I just appreciate you, and I just hope that that me and my disagreeing on some of the things that you're saying won't come off as me just being disrespectful or me not honoring you as a leader or something. No, you're a leader, but I just disagree on how we're going about this issue of abortion. And mainly why I disagree is because it lacks urgency. When we treat abortion, put it on the same level as every other sin, we're actually not. There's no urgency of the tragedy of the crisis that we're in. Abortion is a crisis. Every day, 30 people die. If that was like every day 30 kids got shot in the school, that would be crazy. And so, since abortion is a crisis, we have to treat it like a crisis. It's like if a tornado came to our city, we just don't go, well, it's not my calling to do anything. We change our schedules. We figure out what can we do. And what I'm asking people to do is not quit their day job. I'm trying to say, in the context of what you're in or what your giftings are and what God is, what can you do to really bring about the end of abortion? I believe you go about in an abortion, for one, is we must repent of our sin of apathy. We must cry out to God and ask Him to forgive us for not really caring His heart for it, and ask for a fresh baptism. And this is something I do often, because I'm not even carrying it. And so I know that we need more of His heart regarding this issue. The second thing of how we end abortion is begin to talk about it. We begin to speak about this thing, and do that in different ways. You could blog about it, man. You could write songs. You could have meetings about it. You could talk about it on Facebook. You can make YouTube videos. You could get creative with some type of art form. But begin to talk about the issue of abortion and begin to help change the culture's mindset on this. We need to engage the culture. Go to the culture, passing out information of truth about abortion. Passing out stuff, putting up posters, doing something. The Lord told me earlier to treat this like a campaign. If we were trying to win hearts to be pro-life, abolition, how will we do that? And so, the third way is that we demand from our politicians that we don't vote for anyone who agrees with abortion at all. That's craziness. We can't vote for anyone who thinks that killing a baby is right. Again, we can't vote for anybody who's compromising with that. So once they come out and they're compromising with abortion, or they compromise and say, oh, I'm against abortion except for their case of rape, or things like that, these are not people we support, and we demand for the abolition of it now. This great sin will not be taken care of until we demand it to be done with. It's not going to come by passivity. It's not going to come by kind of tackling it and doing things out around the circle of it. Abortion does affect a lot of different things. It does affect family brokenness. It does affect the poor. It does affect sex. It does affect those things. But we are after, and I repeat, we are after the mindset that makes abortion okay. Because regardless of any situation, killing a person is never the answer. And so what we are after is the mindset that abortion is even okay in any circumstance. And the answer to that is the gospel, thou shalt not murder. And so we need to focus our energy on that. So this discussion, or this topic of abortion is not a light one. All of us have a role to play in ending it. And if we must end it with urgency, zeal. Every day we're losing children. Every day it's costing us something. Every day your neighbor's being killed right down the street from your church, right down the street from your house. And we're pleading with us. We got to do something. We got to treat it like it's like with a shock value. If we treat it like, well, it's just another one of those sins, we'll never actually fight this. This thing is not going to die by us just going around treating it like it's just one of the regular sins. We have to treat this thing and give it special attention, because it's the only thing that sheds that much blood. Abortion sheds so much blood every day. It does so much evil. It kills a person. So it deserves our attention. Now, I'm not saying abandon your calling. Hey, just keep discipling people, but as you're discipling, be thinking of, disciple them in abortion, get them out in the streets. It's like we almost have to do two things at once, to be honest. Yeah, your calling might be cooking, but how can you Also pass out a flyer in the streets. Your calling may be, to work in a nursery, but how can you go to an abortion clinic and help out with that? Your calling may be to, be a pastor, but how can you help raise money to put up billboards and put up something that will help people think about the choice of murdering their children? So I hope that this video, I hope I said everything I can help bring some clarity on what I'm trying to say and what I believe that we need to step into. That we must have an urgent call. I understand why this is really hard to begin to understand how we should react to it, because we've lived with it for 40 years. So when we live with something for 40 years, we think it's a way of life. We don't really have a shock value with it. Somebody could walk into a school and kill 30 kids. We have a shock value with that. But we don't have a shock with 30 kids dying in abortion clinics. And so what I'm pleading with us is that begin to ask God to help give you a revelation of how he feels about the murder in the womb. All right, Chris Rush, All Hands on Deck. 40 years is enough. Open for discussion, you guys. In Jesus' name, man. Be nice.